Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to my session. Just a little bit, half an hour late. But as you can see on the screen, my name is Lesley Crook. I'm an adoption and change management consultant. I work for a Microsoft partner that's based in the Middle East and Africa, but I live in England. So it's quite a mix, but I love Japanese themes. So I'm going to blend adoption and change management of Copilot with the idea of Japanese practices. And my background is internal communications, employee engagement. I have a Lean Sigma green belt from when I worked at GlaxoSmithKline GSK. Do we know GSK? GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals? Do we know that one? Like, I think Takeda is a big competitor. So huge global pharmaceutical company. So I worked there for like 20 years and I got my Lean Sigma green belt. Have we heard of Lean Sigma? Operational excellence from the Toyota production system at TPS. Anyone heard of that? I'll go into that in a second. So I've been an MVP for 9 years. Around adoption and change management. So I'm actually quite unusual in the program because I'm not technical. I help people with the employee engagement, internal communication side and the change management side of working with the Microsoft products. And I've had lots of training in Copilot. And I'll go on to what Sensei is as we go through the presentation, because I've adapted it slightly. And I don't know whether you spotted what I've done there. And I hope I haven't offended anyone on how I've changed that amazing Sensei word. Okay, so yeah, as I explained, I've worked for a company that's a new Microsoft partner that's based in the Middle East and is really focused. All they are focused on is working with companies to create Copilot agents. And they are supersonic with what's happening with Copilot. And you'll hear more about this at Microsoft Ignite, which is coming up the 18th to the 21st of November. So Frontier Firm, Copilot agents, that's all my company is focused on. So I'm bringing here my love of Japanese culture. So I'm bringing here a fusion of Far East principles, but I'm mixing it with Copilot adoption, Middle East experience, customer experiences. I'm blending that together. And I'm a Westerner, and I've created this word from Sensei to a teacher of responsible AI. So I've put AI in the word Sensei. But I don't own it. I would like other people, other MCTs to pick up perhaps the theme of responsible AI and maybe call themselves a Sense AI. So that's what but it's not you have to do it. It's a nice to do it because it's a teacher of AI, if that makes sense. So the agenda is going to be, the company I work for is called Sulava, and I've developed a humane Copilot adoption and change management approach. So that's a responsible framework to nurture workplace AI, ensuring that employees embrace the change, because this is a massive change and it's extremely kind of like robotic, but we don't want to leave the employees, the staff behind and make them fearful of using AI and Copilot. So I've created a framework which brings them along on the journey. And then I've just for fun, I will introduce where I've used some mindful tactics with adoption and change management, including like origami, which you can see on the table in front of you, and you all have one to make up, where I've used origami fortune teller with other Microsoft adoption, like Microsoft Viva, just to help make complex ideas simple. So using a Zen approach to adoption and change management. But I have put on the slide here that the reason I'm using bamboo in my slide template is because I've lost my job 3 times because of Microsoft changing their strategies really, really fast. And then you suddenly spent 2 years learning. MCT, who's an MCT in here? Anyone an MCT? Microsoft certified trainer? No? Okay. So yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of deep learning. And then suddenly Microsoft go, no, we're not going to focus. We're all going to go AI overnight. So I've lost my job 3 times. So I've used the metaphor of bamboo, which is very, as you know, it's very strong, but it's flexible. So I've had to find that inner strength to learn and growth mindset and move on again. So so I like the idea of bamboo. So I've already asked you, who is using Copilot? So some of you are. What about you? Are you using Copilot at the back there? Yep.
Yeah.
Copilot?
Yeah.
Little bit? A little bit? No worries. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. So this is where Microsoft are going with Copilot. And I've actually personally find it quite scary that it's going so fast. So as I said, I work with a company that are so focused on level 2 and 3 on this slide. So this is a Microsoft slide. So the level 1 is humans with assistants, which is Copilot chat. So it's the lowest level. It's Copilot chat that you might already be using, which is similar to ChatGPT, but it's the Microsoft governs, it's the M365 version that you need a license for. Okay, so that's humans with assistants, that's level 1, but most people are not even there yet. So it's still pretty early days, but Microsoft are now looking at level 2 and level 3. So human-led agents. So every team includes AI agents managed by humans that completes tasks autonomously. But where they want to take this is agent-led work. So level 3, humans set the direction and AI agents run entire teams or departments and checking in as needed, which is quite unbelievable. But we look at Toyota that created amazing production lines with robots, which was scary in the days, but now it becomes, you know, factory work has become obviously robotic. And now they're bringing in AI agents to take it to kind of like another level, which is not the manual work, but kind of like the process thinking work. So as I've said, Microsoft Ignite in November, they're going to be talking about frontier firms built around AI that are not just passive assistants, but woven into daily operations. So I've already mentioned all of this, but from the early research, productivity gains we're getting from companies like ABB and Heineken are reporting 30% to 63% productivity gains by using agents. So it's pretty huge, but that must mean maybe staff are decreasing because it's becoming autonomous. So that can make everyone quite anxious that they may over time lose their jobs. But then I think we found over time new jobs appear because we've got that much smarter. So people start looking for other work naturally. So I just have to see how that turns out. So Microsoft a couple of weeks ago put out the AI strategy roadmap, and I was really pleased to see this, quite excited because I've done my own version of this for my company. And I was pretty disappointed. It's 40 pages long and it says it's a roadmap, but I couldn't see the roadmap. It's just words, which was probably written by Copilot. Words and beautiful pictures, 40 pages. So what I had been doing for the last 4 months since I joined the company 4 months ago is I've been developing my own version of AI adoption and change management. And I was having to manage so much materials as part of the Copilot adoption, communication materials and other things that I'll walk you through. And everything was happening so fast for the customers that I was getting confused where everything was that I'd created for this customer over here, this customer over there. So I've created a one-page framework, which I'll show you. But before I take you into the framework that I use, people need to feel seen and heard and understood, and they need to understand how the change will benefit them in their daily work, not just why and how it benefits their organization and end customers. So we need to give to our employees, give them an understanding of what's in it for me, what's in it for my organization, and what's in it for my customers. We need to give them a voice when rapid change is coming through, digital transformation. So many employees don't know the difference between OneDrive and SharePoint. And now we're asking them to use Copilot, and it's gone bang. It's just so fast. So this is the framework that I use, ProSci ADKAR. Has anyone heard of ADKAR, ProSci? No? Okay, so this is an American framework that's been around for about 25 years, and it's been used by many leading management consultants and companies, and has been used across all sectors. And it's around, as I said, adoption and change management, and it's split into 5 themes of awareness of the need to change, the desire to support and engage in change, knowledge of how to change, ability to execute change, and reinforcement of sustaining change. So an English acronym for this is ADKAR, and this is known as the ADKAR framework. So I've taken that also to be able to use this framework. Most people go on a course for 3 days, three-day workshop, costs $5,000 with ProSci. So it's quite a big piece to understand, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for my colleagues to understand that are not experts in change management. They are mostly salespeople and trainers. So I've created this framework, which it takes into account Microsoft's 40-page document. And I've tried to do this one page, which is basically 30,000-foot view in a plane. So I'm going up in a plane, and you've got this one page where everything else feeds off from. So I'll show you that. And I've called it not just an agentic Copilot agent adoption and change management approach. I've called it a human framework. So, and I put that first. So we make sure that this is about employees and bringing them along on the journey, not just pushing it at them that they have to do this, and not giving them a voice, allowing them to speak up along the way and share their concerns and frustrations, but also their success stories as well. So the first one here is the awareness of the need for AI. So this is basically where our salespeople will go into the customers, and they might already have Copilot licenses. Microsoft might have already done some support work with them, but this is where our sales colleagues will be kind of like giving them more information about how Silava as a company can help them with their Copilot adoption. So we have a session that we run called the 3C mindset, and that is about curiosity, courage, and collaboration. And we think that's quite neat, because you need to have curiosity to start using AI. You need to have courage to use it, possibly at work, and you need to collaborate. Tell your colleagues if you're getting good use out of it. Talk about it to your colleagues, because the licenses are expensive, and what we're trying to prove is return on investment for the license money. Otherwise, you might as well use free Copilot or ChatGPT. There's also a technical review that goes on in that early stage with the customer, which I don't get involved in. That's my technical colleagues. That's why it's blacked out with no link underneath. And then I've created a responsible usage policy for for our customers, and I explain why you shouldn't be using ChatGPT or Claude or anything else to do your company work. You should be using security and compliance and governed ways of working within M365, within your licenses. And if you do it that way, you'll have a much richer experience using Copilot, because it will be pulling from your documents in your OneDrive and SharePoint, and it will be pulling from the conversations from your Teams meetings. It makes your life so much easier if you are using M365 Copilot with the license. So I've created a responsible usage policy, which has we get it checked off by the cybersecurity and the data privacy teams within the company. We advise them to blend it with their own policy that they might already exist, but we guide them and say, this is what other customers are using. Like, we're working with Emirates and Abu Dhabi, lots of big lots of airports in the Middle East, and they're taking our advice on this. I've also created an AI council guidance. So I've called it the Humane AI Council, and this is where we guide them to gather their colleagues around the business, some senior leaders or middle management, but representation from the whole business on how AI is the journey and the vision of AI in the company. This originally was a document that was created by Microsoft, and I've the version I've got now, I've kind of redone it using Copilot to make it a little bit easier to read, because it was really long. So I use that as a first go round, like a blueprint, as a guidance document, and they say it needs to be personalised for your company, what's appropriate. So I help them do that as well. I also create an employee engagement communication plan. This is where I talk to them. I find out the audiences in the company and the channels they're using. So when I say audiences, it could be like senior leaders, worker staff, maybe frontline workers. Depending on the organisation, they're going to have different types of workers. So it could be, production line workers. You might have, if you're working in a hotel, food and beverage staff. So every organisation is going to have their audience types, and each organisation is going to have a preference for the channels they use. So they might not, mostly everyone's using email. There might be, obviously Teams. Some might be using Viva Engage, formerly known as Yammer, Outlook, SharePoint. So we need to help them craft communications that are suitable for all of the channels in the business. So I've done this particular communications plan blueprint. There's 27 different types of communication depending on what they need to start the launch of Copilot in their organisation. So we take the grunt work, if that makes sense, the difficult work for them. They might not have communications teams. A lot of companies don't have internal communications teams. They have marketing, which is external, but a lot of companies don't have internal comms. So I do the job for them. I give them the kind of like the first go round of how the communications should read with a branded nice Copilot template, and then say you need to make it for your own tone of voice for your own company. We also send out 2 skill set surveys to gauge the mindset of those employees. So it's just like, are you using any AI at all? Are you using it regularly? How do you feel about it? So we have 2 surveys, Microsoft form surveys, that we send out as well in that early stage before they maybe even have got the licenses. And so that's the awareness part, mostly being done by sales team and my sales team and me. And then we go into the next phase of ADCAR, which is desire, participate in AI transformation. This is where the trainers come in. They don't have to be Microsoft certified trainers. They can just be good people that are good at instructing, and they're teachers. So we start to run AI Copilot workshops, and there's different levels of them. There might be stuff that we do all company. They might be over Teams. We do events where we have people in a big auditorium. So we scale it, we personalize it for whatever the customer needs. Most of the time we're doing it over Teams. So there's different types of training that we do. There might be sessions for senior leaders that's a bit more personalised. And then anything on here that hasn't got an asterisk, the little star, that links to Microsoft materials. So these link off to materials that are available on the internet for anyone to have a look at. So we guide the customer to use these materials as part of their adoption plan as well. So the training has now been going on for a couple of weeks, and then we go into knowledge of ADCAR, how to adopt AI. So this is where I come back in, and I now run Copilot champion sessions. So when I say champions, they're the people that are being recognised by the business that are using Copilot pretty well. So we want them to be the kind of like the bang the drum for the change in the organisation, and we give them extra tutoring and extra support to help them tell their success stories. My technical colleagues come in and they take some of those people and they offer them extra training around using Copilot Studio and creating their own agents. So this is where we're taking it up a level. So we've gone like lower down here, then we go up and up again. So it's kind of like layering the knowledge. So this is where we want to get them to start creating their own agents, and there's more learning there. So that's basically the main part of what my job is, this stage 1, 2 and 3. But ADCAR has more than that. So we want to help them monitor the productivity increases around using AI. So there is the Copilot dashboard, which is a blend of Power Platform and Viva Insights. So that's been put together by Microsoft to monitor the staff usage of how Copilot's being used. And again, I put out these surveys to find out how they are actually been using Copilot. It's what we call success stories, customer success stories, which is really, really important to gather those success stories from staff. Otherwise, there's nothing to show that they're using it well. And from a return on investment point of view, for senior leaders, that is critical because the licenses, as we know, are not cheap. Okay, so the biggest part of my job is helping to find the success stories and helping people write them, and then we put them out, across the business. They could go on SharePoint, they could be talked about in meetings, but we really need to find the success stories to show the increase in productivity. What we're looking for at on those stories is that someone has said, it saved me 4 hours, but it took me 30 minutes, if that makes sense. So we want to show how much time it's saved using Copilot. And some of the stories I'm seeing, so I'm working with an insurance underwriting company. It's the complexity of the documentation that they're using in underwriting and insurance is so mind-blowing. But they're now showing me using Copilot, something that would take them half a day. They're doing it in half an hour with the prompts. And if the prompt is quite strong and powerful, it's saying, well, you could turn that into a Copilot agent, but other staff could use as well. So it's really turning out to be interesting. And then the last part of the framework is reinforcement. So making this sustainable. So we've come in at the beginning, we've got the trainers have done the training and then they go. But unless I come in and say, how are you using it? Is it working for you? Is it helpful? How much time are you saving? Then all the training that was done at the beginning is a waste of time. People are not using it. So we have to show that the reinforcement, the sustainability, that it is, people are actually using it. They're continuously showing curiosity, they're being courageous, and they're being collaborative, that they're sharing their knowledge with those colleagues and with the champions. So that's basically an adoption and change management framework. And from most most other consultants experience, if you miss out any of these themes, any of these 1 to 5, your adoption program on anything, whatever product it is going to not be very good. But you can go back in and fill in these gaps. That's the thing, that's the beauty of it. So as I said, everything on here for my colleagues is a link to everything that's underlined is a link to the collateral, the documentation that they need to help the customer. So I've tried to make it, as I said, this Zen approach, making complexity as simple as possible. So that's where I brought in my Japanese thinking. So just wanted to put on there that I've reminded myself that when I first wrote the title for this, it was human agentic approach, but I added the E, the inflection in English of humane, and the E, I think, is employee engagement. If you understand that. So you don't have to worry about it because it might not relate in Japanese, but I put the words humane, added an E, because I think that is employee engagement, because you want them to be able to speak up. We offer them, we make sure that they can use a Teams channel as they, to share their stories, to share their frustrations, to write their stories on how they're using it. So we want them to be part of the change. We want them to feel like they're owning the change and it's not being forced on them. So this is an image that I created for my Champions program. As you can see, that it's fun. I used image creator, like you can do on ChatGPT. You've just got to be able to come up with a really creative, descriptive prompt, and you can all get beautiful images like that. So you can clearly see question mark, curiosity, creativity, light bulb, and collaboration, those two employees working together. So this is my starter slide that I use for my champion sessions. So just for the sake of we need to keep going because we've run out of time, I'm going to have you got any questions that you would like to ask? You could always ask me afterwards, anything that you would like to ask me, but it's quite challenging because English isn't your first language. So but is there anything anyone would like to ask? So teaching tech with Zen minimalism. So I've have some from the job, the work that I've done over the last 10 years with other adoption programs. I've always tried to make it's as simple as possible for the staff and tried to make it fun. This idea of teaching tech with what I'm calling with Zen simplicity. So some of you, all of these practices on here have come from Japan. So design thinking, agile, Kaizen, Lean Six Sigma. They are all traced back to Japanese, to Toyota, of continuous improvement and respect for people. So I've been trained in Lean Six Sigma, and I'm aware of agile. So this has been used across the world for startups and for manufacturing facilities, probably mostly in car manufacturing and in pharmaceuticals. So they're great practices. So I'm very, very, very impressed. So what I'm trying to do is instill those Far East practices back to my colleagues that are working with Middle East customers. And some of them are kind of aware of it, but I want to help them to make the company as efficient as possible of how we're working. And that's why I created that one pager. So this is just a bit of fun. And because we're running out of time, I created for Microsoft Viva, the origami fortune teller. And you all have one of these in your pouch, in your little bag. But we don't have to do it now because you can take it home with you. But I'll just show you how it works. So, but it starts off on the top, which was the themes of Microsoft Viva, which is about nurture connections, enable growth, have a purpose, and discover insights. And then when you open it up, like nurture connections was using Viva Engage and Viva Connections, and then underneath there, it was SharePoint and Yammer. This took me quite a long time to remember. So, but then you open the whole thing up, and then you get discover in the flow of your work, and basically it's all going through Teams. But this started as this. This is what Microsoft gave us. And then some of this has disappeared, like the topics. So you've now got Copilot. But just to give you a tip, you have to start it this side up when you do, if you want to do this later for your kids, you've got children. Start it this way up and you start there. Otherwise it won't work. You have to start that way up, if that makes sense. So you need to do it that way round. Start there and then fold in and then turn it over. But this is where I try to make complexity as simple as possible. And Microsoft customer success managers have taken my idea and they've used it, and I've used it at conferences. But I didn't think I would talk about it again until I was coming to Japan, and I thought, origami, like wow, and I still have some of these left. So, but yeah, this is kind of like the idea of this is. The creases are security, compliance, and governance. It's all M365. It's all contains. So yeah, everything you're using is within Teams, and that's within your palm of your hand. It's safe within the palm of your hand. So that's just, but yeah, it was just I tried to bring fun to difficult big Microsoft ecosystems. The other one I have for you is Ikigai. And I've now, you can create your own Ikigai using Copilot. Have you all done your Ikigai? Have you all looked at your own Ikigai in the past? Okay, so I've given you a prompt. So if you photograph the screens, because you're going to, I don't know if you'll get these slides after, if you photograph the screen, so if you take a picture of that, and then you'll have the prompt, and then you can try this later on to build your own, if you just use ChatGPT, use your own, whatever AI you like, because this is, again, the human-centered approach. Because it should be, hopefully you love your job, you're getting paid for your job, you're passionate because you work in tech, and it should all come together. So I'll just show you mine. Nearly finished now. So this is mine. So you should be able to get something like this if you use the prompt. So what I love making complex things simple and human. What the world needs is human-centered transformation, not it being pushed down their throat. Everyone needs an agent. And what you can be paid for, well, I'm a consultant, I'm here, I'm an MVP, and what you're good at, translating complexity into clarity. So that's basically the end of my session, but hopefully I've given you a little exercise to do on why Copilot or whatever AI you choose is useful from a work point of view, personally for your profession, that you understand like why you exist, your ikigai, what drives you forward, what gets you up in the morning, and I'm hoping that the idea of a sensei AI that others, as I said at the beginning, might like to become teachers of AI, but using that responsible approach of guiding people that at work you shouldn't be using open source. You shouldn't be using open source ChatGPT to get your work done. You need to be using the license. And that's it. Thank you very much. And in here you have some gifts. So you can, because others aren't here, please take these home. So you have two. This comes from my home in England. It's candy. They're from by the sea. And you have a tea bag with a special message. This has a person in there, has a special message, personal message for everyone. Little blessing that is from India. And you also have here a prompt card. It's got a prompt that you can try as well. And this is my card. So you can follow me on LinkedIn. But take these with you, because otherwise I've got to take them home. If you want to take that forward. Otherwise they're going to go to waste. That's for you.
Oh, what's this function? I'm going to throw myself out the window to turn on the voice. Yes, I mean, just, I'll turn out here. Yeah, no worries.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thank you so much. Thank you.